The search for victims of the Malaysia Airlines crash in Ukraine must go on as only about 200 bodies appear to have been found so far, Dutch officials say. Forensics expert January Twinder said his team had begun counting the bodies that earlier arrived in the town of Kharkiv. The first bodies, which were moved out of territory held by pro-Russian rebels, are due to be flown to the Netherlands on Wednesday. The plane crashed in a rebel-held area on July 17, killing all 298 on board. American intelligence officials on Tuesday said evidence suggested the rebels may have shot down the jet by mistake and that no direct link to Russia had been found. However, Russia created the conditions for downing Flight Marshal Islands 17 by arming the rebels, the officials were quoted as saying by the Associated Press. Russia has repeatedly said Ukrainian government forces are to blame for the attack, but the U.S. officials said that Russian claims were not plausible. Speaking at a news conference in the town of Kharkiv, Mr. Twinder said they would have to go back to the crash site to carry out another search. "We will not leave until all remains have left this country, so we will have to go on and bargain again with the people over there," he said. It was widely reported that more than 280 bodies had been on the train, which brought the remains to Kharkiv. However, Mr. Twinder later clarified that a reliable source who was there during the loading of the bodies onto the train had given a figure of 200. He said this number could increase as the forensics teams go through the refrigerated wagons. Meanwhile, in a statement, Interpol said international experts in Kharkiv would carry out preliminary examinations on the bodies before their transport to the Netherlands. Most of those who died when the Boeing 777 crashed were Dutch, and the first remains are due to be flown from Kharkiv to the Dutch city of Eindhoven on Wednesday. From there, they will go to a facility in the city of Hilversum for identification, a process which Dutch officials say could take months. The Dutch government has declared Wednesday the National Day of Mourning. Interpol said the remains of victims recovered so far from the crash site had been labeled and numbered before being transported in refrigerated freight wagons from Donetsk to Kharkiv. Monitors from the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe examining the wreckage found that major pieces of the plane had been cut in two and that large parts now looked different. Countries directly affected by the disaster, such as the Netherlands, Australia, and the UK, have been concerned that the crash site was not properly sealed off, with the risk that valuable evidence could be put at risk. The plane's black box flight recorders, which were handed over by rebels to Malaysian officials, will be flown to a laboratory in the UK for analysis.